Hey!
Well, hello. It is. When was our last live? It was like
June in
back
from
in
Wilmington.
June. Wow. Like right after we got to Wilmington, and so much has happened since then.
Yeah. So we've the produced videos have caught everyone who's been watching those up to the point that we arrived
To
at
Elizabeth Zone.
Elizabeth City, and we're about to enter the Dismal Swamp. And in real time, we cruised up the James River and got turned away from Richmond. So
So yeah, we crossed into Virginia 2 weeks ago, spent some lovely time in Norfolk, and then we decided to do a side trip off the James up off the Chesapeake because the cruising season is coming to a close here
well,
pretty
we could
soon.
have done, we could have gone all the way to Washington D.C. if we wanted stuff, but we like to go slow and we like to do the side trips. So we're like, we're gonna be storing our boat come early November, so let's do the side trip to Richmond because not a lot of people do it. Richmond's supposed to be a fabulous city. You can get there by water.
It's about
Um,
90 miles
yes,
diversion off of the Chesapeake Bay. So it's not insignificant. And there's not a lot of resources. So
and there's not a
there's
lot of stops along the way.
yeah, there's not a lot of places. No, like there's only a handful of marinas that can take a boat our size. There's really no services. There's no where to get really like a pump out or
There's
fuel
a few, but
or
not many. Yeah,
mechanic. So
right.
it's kind of one of these side trips. Like when we did the side trip off of the St. Johns River down to Sanford, you got to be really comfortable being
Fending for
self-sufficient.
yourself
Yeah.
and stuff, and anchoring out on the way up. And we had a lovely cruise up. We anchored off Jamestown, the first settlement in the first English
English
speaking
settlement.
settlement in the colonies, or the
There
first
was
English
English.
colony. Yes, and went ashore there and played around and toured and stuff, and then came up further up the river and did just one random anchorage.
Mhm. And then, of course, Hurricane Helene, which has been so devastating for so many, um,
Was on
was
the forecast.
was on the forecast. And in this area of Virginia, it was just supposed to be outer rain bands. But we wanted to be safely at dock for that, just in case it was more. And being at anchor stuck in the rain is
Yeah.
yeah, it can
So,
be fun for a night.
so
But
we saved us. There were some really interesting side trips along the James River to check out. We decided we'd save those for our trip back down the river, and let's get up to Richmond on Thursday, last week Thursday, right
a
before the
week ago,
hurricane, and got there, got docked. This great little marina, Rockets Landing, which is just like a mile from downtown Richmond, but it's right on the river. It is basically as far up the river as you can go.
until there's whitewater rapids.
Yeah, before the fall line. So that's why the city of Richmond existed there. Is that's where the mills could be to have the power from the waterfalls, and that's as far as ships could go back in the early colonial period, even all the way up to Richmond. So there's only one marina there, and it's right in the main channel of the river, and which means you're great. You're right. Got the Capitol River Trail going right there. You could take the bike trail right into
And
downtown.
we got docked, we went out to lunch,
Got pumped out.
we did a pump out, we started scoping around. I'm looking at tickets for shows. We're starting to plan a bike trip.
We were just about to click buy on our Amazon orders, our Amazon locker to come deliver. Let's get some stuff here. Let's do, because we're planning to be there 2 weeks at least. We're going to make Richmond a base camp and really enjoy exploring this great city. And, we had been watching the river forecasts
You
very
actually checked the flood gauges, although
just, oh yeah, I'd been checking the flood gauges just that morning, and as had the dock master. And so right when we got back from our walk and we're getting the hook up the boat and getting the boat situated and hooked up, the dock master comes out and says,
introduces himself and says,
I've got
"So,
some bad
do
news.
you guys have anywhere else you can go?"
It's like
And
90-mile detour.
that is that is a kind of a rhetorical question because everyone who's up this way knows that the options for anywhere else to go are really limited for a boat of our size. Um, so we're like, we just spent 3 days getting up here. Why? And he explained to us the problem with the marina is it's all floating docks and there are absolutely no pilings because they're in 20 plus feet of water. So getting pilings down into the ground are hard.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just these finger piers that are just floating
That
out
are
there.
they have a kind of a
They've
cantilever system into the bank of the river, but they're not able to, particularly the area of the marina where they have the transient boats is right where the river current swings around. And he's like, when we flood, we're very much afraid that when a certain level of current is hit, the docks will rip away along with any other boats on them. So we don't want to have any big boats in our transient area if we're going to flood. And guess what? Just in the last hour, the river forecast went from da 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 da, like it's going up a little bit, but it's just rain nuts, but still way down low. To let me switch over here to show you um, what we got is you can look up that chart on the right. That was the beginning. This is actually all the way until real time. So when we arrived, it was the current going into the marina and down the James River was that um, blue line down. I don't have a pointer to point at it, but nice and flat and low, and it had just had this spike in the forecast, and it had just been revised from nice and flat and slight
And
rise
if you look at the
to
forecast, it's like, oh, Saturday's looking fine. So
yeah.
he says if you can just go somewhere for 2 nights, and
And then come back. It'll be great. This is
And
the
we're like, okay, where do we go? And there was another Great Loop cruising vessel there who had gotten in the day before, and they had just gotten the news. So we all met, made new friends, and the four of us decided to head downriver about almost 12 miles downriver to Dutch Gap, which is an oxbow off of the James
yeah.
River.
So Dutch Gap is the first place that you can go downriver from Richmond that you can get out of the main current. So if there's going to be a flood, you don't want to be anchored on the side of the river. And there's also barge traffic and commercial traffic a little bit that comes up that way as well. So you don't want to be in the main channel. So we're like, let's go down to Dutch Gap and swing around the side in the Oxbow. Dutch Gap is you can go read the history of it. It's quite historic because this was the original canal that cut off this Oxbow, and the Dutch Gap Canal was dug by the Union during the Civil War to cut off a 7-mile loop of river so that they could try to have a more direct route to Richmond and not keep getting sunk and shelled by the Confederacy. So this was a site of they dug a canal under cannon fire in the middle of a war. So kind
And
of
you
historic.
had known about this as an Oxbow because we were considering it if we were arriving early or we wanted someplace after
Yeah.
Richmond, but we hadn't done much research as to what was here.
Yeah. So
It
we just
was
knew it
it
was a safe place to get out of the main flow.
was like, okay, so that was the goal, someplace safe for 2 nights, stay at anchor. We can do docktails with our new friends,
Got to meet
hang
her.
out.
Yep. We all
Right.
hung out on our boats and watched the flood gauges, and it did look like okay. Then the next morning it's going to go up. You see that first little hump on the uh, graph there to the top right, but then the I guess the first big band of rain was all much up to the west of us. It was like the aftermath of Helene, and it hit the western, even further west, so much worse. But the part of Helene that was in western Virginia and up the river of the James turned into a much bigger spike on the river, and so you see that second hump there that is like, oh, guess we're not going to be getting back in the next few days. It's going to be a
So
longer stop.
it was pretty clear by Friday morning, even Thursday evening, that's like, no, we're not getting back on Saturday. Maybe Tuesday is looking like the likelihood. And then more storms came, more rain
Yeah,
came on Tuesday. More. There's only supposed to be like a half inch. We had almost
yeah,
4 inches of rain
we had a
here on
half. Yeah, we
Tuesday.
had a forecast of half inch of rain on Tuesday, and our rain gauge on our boat showed like 3.5 inches. We had to put out the leaks prevention towels everywhere because it was a soaking rain, and that is like okay, river is rising, and
Yeah. So
so we're stuck in this anchorage. But fortunately,
So, our friends, our cruising friends, they'd been to Richmond before. Their mission there had already been accomplished. They decided to brave the river. We got reports from them. The debris on the river is insane. They reported telephone
dodging bullets and
poles.
telephone poles
Yeah,
and
and
everything.
they safely got down, but they said it was very trying. So that was, of course, an option for us, is we could retreat all the way back to the Chesapeake Bay or find something else to do on the river.
But there's not
Um,
a lot.
there's not a lot to do, and it's 90 miles back. And we came here for Richmond. We had lots of plans to do in Richmond, and checking it out. It's like,
So
okay,
we're adaptable.
and we're adaptable. And it's like we have nothing else on our schedule for the we really feel we have like one cruising month left this season before we store for winter. And it's like, okay, we have really nothing on the agenda or nothing else that we were planning until end of the month. We have flexibility. We can stay here. This doesn't suck too bad. And thankfully, uh, It does turn out that there is shore access here.
That was the thing that saved us. We would be completely stir crazy by now if there wasn't a way to get to shore
We
because
are only slightly
we are
sort
yeah, we're only slightly stir crazy, but I had scoped this out, and actually on our way up the river, I'd scoped with binoculars that there was a dock labeled Henricus, and I looked and it's like Henricus Historical Park. Maybe this is a park that we can get ashore. What is Henricus? Turns out Henricus is the second English settlement in along the James River back in the 1600s. It was the water in Jamestown was so stagnant and bad to drink. They sent the next batch of build a town up here up the river, and it lasted for a little while before the Indian uprising, and they all retreated back. But they built a town up here, and it was completely lost to history. But
yeah.
since the 80s or
They started,
90s, yeah,
yeah, they started building it in the 80s. I think they opened it in
yeah,
the 90s,
yeah,
and
historical reenactment
y
nonprofit.
it's,
Yeah,
beautifully done, and the
amazing.
a lot of the people who built the town are the interpreters there, and so we went on a Saturday morning with our cruising friends, and
We didn't know what we were getting into. We're like,
we thought it'd just be like a quick little tour through the thing. It's like $13 to do. We didn't have high expectations for it being much, but
but it's the only thing here that's
we ended up
reachable.
spending 3 hours, about an hour each with each of the interpreters on staff, and just learning so much about the area, the
And
history, how they survived back then.
they've completely recreated. I mean, they've rebuilt the buildings in using period tools. They've got period outfits. They've got everything there is set up like you're in a little soldier's hut with all the supplies there, and you're welcome to play with them. And they're all period authentic recreations. So you're like, oh, I could try on some armor, and I could play with this musket, and I could do this and that, and yeah, and it was just so cool. We
Yeah,
really
so
enjoyed Henricus.
got an afternoon out of the way, and then there's also, where are we at? Dutch Gap, yeah.
Yeah, so
Dutch Gap conservation area is here as well, and the trailhead starts at the Henricus Historical Park, and it's a nice 4-mile wooded trail along, well, mostly wooded, some
yeah,
of it's along the
some of it's
power
along the
plant,
power plant, but
but,
beautiful
beautifully
trail.
shaded, which is perfect because we're in marathon training, and we had a 17-mile run on the training schedule
Yes,
last
for
weekend.
Sunday, and we had planned to be in Richmond and to have this 50-mile capital trail. Like the trail that goes from Richmond to Williamsburg is great for running and biking. We're so looking forward to have that trail literally right outside of the marina. Well, here we are trapped in Dutch Gap, but this 4.5 mile trail plus combining on
Some of the
some
roads.
roads and some other adjoining trails we put together. I ran 18 miles, he ran 17 miles, and we had an incredibly great training run. So that got another day of stir craziness out of the way.
Yes, and then after, that level of run, you usually have a day or 2 that
Yes.
you wanna be have down days anyway, so that worked out well. Our friends left on Monday, and so our social outlet left. So we've been on our own talking to floating logs.
And so we made a video game, or not a video game, but we made a game out of it. We take the dinghy out and go just up and down through this oxbow with all this debris. We'd go out to the main river channel and you could see the much more debris and like just logs and trees shooting by. But in the oxbow, a lot of stuff would spin out here into the eddies, including a ton of trash. So we'd go out with the magic gripper arm things, and I'd steer the dinghy, and she'd be like grabbing the trash, and we picked up
We
probably a
have
hundred plus plastic
we have
bottles
have, like, a contractor's trash bag full of bottles and cans that
and
we picked up out of the
other
river,
and a
so
lot of shampoo bottles for some reason. I don't
2
know.
2 shampoo bottles, I
Three.
don't
I thought there
understand.
was three, but yeah, still
Yeah.
that seems like odd. But yeah, we got a lot of plastic out of the river because
Hey,
you know
something to do. I don't like to see trash, and,
no, so
at least
we
we can
chase
help
it
out.
down, chase it down.
So yeah, that's been keeping us busy. Yeah, but that's really, and then we're attending to boat projects and work.
And
One of our team members over at the Mobile Unit Resource Center lives in Asheville, and
so
they're obviously dealing with the
yeah,
true
we're
devastation.
dealing with flooding on easy, super easy level of like, we're slightly annoyed and we're having,
But
to
no, I'm
ration our
feeling
electricity and water a bit.
extremely blessed that this is the worst we're dealing with, because yeah, our friend Jen is dealing with so much more.
Oh
So
my gosh.
everyone in North, who's struck in the areas. So one of our main team members is not able to work this week because she has no power, no internet. It's kind of essential for remote work. So it's
Yeah,
a great week for us to fill in.
pick up a few extra shifts, do some more work. It is keeping us sane that we can get ashore and go for a walk every day. There was a span of a day and a half or two where
It
the
flooded too.
flooded down here. It got high enough down here that the trail was partially underwater, so we had to go wading. But we still did that. When
We got used to that in Sanford
yes,
after Ian, so we know all
yeah,
about waiting.
yeah. But now the river is going down again. The trail is back. We got a good walk in this evening, and
And we actually, got an Uber today. So we were able to get because the Henricus, Historical Park has an actual address,
and their gate is open from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m.
we're actually able to have an Instacart grocery deliver Instacart. I always get Instacart and Instant Pot,
Yes.
whatever. I was able to get a grocery
Yeah.
order in,
The,
so
the the driver was very confused. They're delivering groceries to a town from the 1600s, historically recreated, and then we're sitting there with a cooler and some things, and then we had to hoof it down a trail a quarter, half a mile, load it on a dinghy, and then take it out to a boat. And we're like, yeah, this is
but yeah, we're thankful because when we got to the docks, there's just when we got to Richmond, right there at the marina is just a little convenience store that has some basic essentials with no pricing. That was kind of weird. And the closest grocery store was like a mile and a half away. And we just didn't have time to get to the grocery store and
before we left.
restock our fresh stuff. So like we had no greens, we had very little bit of I think I had like half an onion left. And we're gonna be cooking. There's no restaurants out here. So we're gonna be doing a lot of cooking. Thankfully, we do have, a lot of frozen food on board. We have a lot of canned food that we didn't need to use up before we stored the boat. So it's actually been good for that.
Yeah, so we're working through the food, but the one thing we had to really ration is we tried to fill up our water before we left Rocket's Landing on Thursday, and the dockmaster is like, I got more bad news. The water main just broke, and it's going to be probably until tomorrow that they fix it, and so there's no water on the dock.
So
So we weren't able to tap up our
so
water.
we had filled our tanks in Norfolk, but we've been using the water a little more generously
Oh yeah,
than
we're taking long
usual,
showers and stuff.
because we knew we're going to be on a dock with water access in just a few days. So
Oops.
we had not been in a super conservative mode. So our main tank was about at 60%,
Yeah,
which gives us
which is a decent
plenty.
amount.
And we can hold like 140 gallons of water. So we still have plenty. But yeah,
Yeah,
for 2 days is a different thing than having to extend out a week. So now
yes.
we're on night 8 tonight,
Mhm.
and we have been able to ration our water. The rain did help.
Yeah, we actually did a rain capture system and captured some rain, and we also discovered that in that 16th century town there is a spigot that we were able to.
Who knew the settlers had water spigots?
They had a spigot
Yeah.
that we could get to that is in the park area that it was publicly accessible. So we carried our 5 gallon containers up the trail, up the steep bluff, and we're able to
Yeah.
do a little
So yeah,
top up that way
so
as
we can
well.
bring 5, 10 gallons on at a time. Not worried about drinking water. Uh, Rain showers when you're at a secluded anchorage do make for nice naked showers outside.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
saying if we did that or not.
No, but
Um,
if there's anyone on the shore with binoculars in that 16th century town, they might have seen something, maybe. Yeah.
I don't think they can. We can't even see the town from here.
That's true.
Yeah, there's really nothing in sight too much. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So yeah, that's good for water conservation. But the rain is gone now, so
Yes, and so yeah, we just talked to the marina, and the forecast is tomorrow morning. It's supposed to drop below what they consider the safe level for the marina. It's kind of dropping out of that yellow zone, and they want us to hold off until Saturday and arrive then. Just give it a little bit more time to get below. They didn't suffer too much damage, and they are eager to have us back, and are like very thankful that we stuck it out and waited. So.
we're very much looking forward to getting back. I'm glad the marina survived. We kind of had this fear that damage was done to the marina. We
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to go back at all.
yeah, we
But
were afraid they tell us, "No, the dock's cracked," and,
there's still
yeah,
time.
yes,
Let's,
no, no, the water's dropping, it's stop, it's done. Yeah, no, and no rain, please. We're doing an
so,
anti-rain dance,
so
and
yeah, we'll check in with them before we
go on, but
bring up the.
hopefully we'll be docked on Saturday.
And I'm just hoping we didn't like anchor on top of like
A
Civil
Civil
War
War,
vessel or
yeah,
something.
we might have a historical discovery under us in this anchorage here, and when we pull up the anchor after a week of,
Debris
debris and stuff,
everywhere. Oh,
this could be challenging to unanchor here, but it has been actually, we got so lucky. We
it
scored with
is.
this
It
great
it
place,
has been very pleasant. But yeah, adaptability is the key with any life choice, really, especially nomadic life,
and
because
particularly boating.
boating is so dependent on weather, more so than RVing. And it's like crossing the Albemarle Sound. It's like having to speed up our intentions for our cruising plans to get a weather window, or I'll be pinned back for a week or two.
Yeah.
it's just the thing, you have to pay attention to what's ahead
And
in your
then
plans and then be able to adapt and adjust
and
as you go.
always have plan B and plan C in mind. So I had already had this anchorage as our plan B if for some reason we couldn't the marine there was a problem with docking at the marina. There was something that happened in Richmond. Already had this plan B on the chart marked. And so it really wasn't too much of a panic to be like, where are we going to go next? Because there aren't many anchorages up this part of the river.
We could
So
have gone back the
yeah,
next
Hopewell would be the
next down,
next town down. Yeah.
and our cruising friends that we anchored with here, they had just been there and they were already reporting that the docks they're fixed were already underwater at high tide.
Yeah,
So
they're wash at high tide because that's part of what was backing up the river is we've been having really unusually high tides and plus now floods from above and here there this Richmond's where the tide meets the flow from the upstream and yeah it's backed up on us and so we had to get our sandals wet to wade through a running trail the other day and
and we
um
have been having to use our generator much more.
yeah
And we were set up with solar lithium batteries
but all
and
the rain
yeah.
made for not much
Yep, so
sun
we had
so yeah
several cloudy days. We did have to run the
yeah
generator a bit more than we usually do, but though so thankful we have that.
yeah
Did find that running the generator for a couple hours during the day heats the hot tub nicely, so
yeah
we're not suffering out here.
No, 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 it has not been
Yeah.
bad.
So if anyone has any questions, feel
Yeah,
free to
this is
post them. We're happy to answer any questions you might have about nomadic life or plans ahead. General plan is we will be storing the boat here in early November here in the probably in the Hampton Roads area, which is Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton, the whole
yep,
area there. We do have
storage place picked out in mind.
yep, we
So
already have our deposit down on that store and leaving with a project list. So hopefully we get some
boat
boat work
projects done.
done.
And by the way, thank you for all the people who responded to our prior videos with suggestions of places to store. We got a lot of great tips from all of you. Where we won't reveal where we picked until much later because just we don't want to do
Mhm.
that. But we got a lot of great tips from people. So thank you because we always love it when we get ideas and suggestions and cool tips
Yeah.
from people who are watching.
And then we'll be retrieving the van, which is down in Sanford, Florida, where we had started this adventure from this and back in April.
Yep.
And then get it up, probably bring it up to the boat, without Kiki anymore. Of course, we lost our cat.
Mhm.
Without having to worry about transporting her. We do have the flexibility to take the train back or catch a flight, except for I hate flying. Um, and get back to the van. But we have a lot of other stuff that we want to bring with us, like our bicycles.
Yep.
We'll have food left and things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking we'll probably go get the van, and then
Yeah.
we'll take a slow meander
Yeah, a couple week van trip back to Florida, and then we've got family for Thanksgiving, and then we're gonna run a marathon on December 1st.
down in Florida, and
Yes.
then we're planning to get back out to the bus in Arizona. This after that, I'll be out there, and then return to the boat life in springtime and continue cruising northward and continuing the
Confusing.
Great Loop.
Yes.
Looks like we will close out this cruising year with just over 1,200 nautical miles of cruising, which is a new record for us. It's the most cruising miles we've had in a year by more than double.
And this is
So,
our most time anchored in one spot.
mhm,
So, we're setting records all over the place. So there we
yes.
are.
All right. So, Johnny. Oh, and
Yeah,
Johnny,
we got,
thanks for he recommended folks hit the like button. That always helps YouTube
yeah.
channels to let YouTube know that
Yeah,
people
we'll,
like
we'll
this
give
and
them a
recommend
shout
to
out there.
others. So,
Smash the like button, but don't break your computer. But yes,
yeah.
we do appreciate it. We don't do our channel to be influencers and make lots of YouTube dollars and stuff. We do this for fun and to meet and connect with cool people. And but we do like spread the word, get it out there. The more people watching, the more fun it is for us. So
Seriously, the friends we make along our journey, and a lot of folks come from watching us on YouTube or on the blog or Facebook over the years. The friends we make from that is why we continue to do
oh
this.
gosh, yeah,
So,
we've met so many awesome people.
yes.
And okay, so Johnny does ask, I have a question. Do you guys have any experience with flexible solar panels and the reliability?
And
God,
yeah,
you way back when.
yeah, when they first hit the market, we actually had several companies
We had
send us samples and we
we had
got,
three different. I think we've tested four different brands
but
of
that was
flexible
back in
solar
like
panels.
2011, 2012.
And but our experience with them was they did not hold up well. That generation, those early generations of them, I know solar in general has gone through such a huge tech revolution and gotten so much cheaper that I'm sure you could find a rundown of current flexible solar panel options. We do actually carry some in our van that we've got can hook up to the external
Those are still the same ones
same
from.
old ones, and we get a
I think one or two of them still work.
yeah, of the eight, I think we had eight at one point. So of the eight that we have, there's like two that were still putting out a decent amount of power and hadn't had their connectors fall apart and stuff. And those are the ones we were carrying with us in the
Yeah, I
van.
do not know the current state of the flexible markets. There's so many different options out these
Mhm.
days, and yeah, it's been over a decade since we had hands-on time with any. So, uh, keeping up with solar, lithium, and stuff like that. Obviously, back in the day, we were one of the pioneers with that. We don't keep up with anymore. There's so many other people doing that. We focus on mobile internet.
Yeah, we focus. Yeah, we there was a time we were tempted to do after the Mobile Internet Resource Center is like, let's do the same thing and do a mobile solar and lithium resource center, and then we got knocked ourselves straight with the Clue by Four. It's like that's way too much work, and yeah, no, we didn't want to take that project on as
Mhm.
well. So once yeah, we're no longer at the cutting edge on solar and
Oh,
lithium.
someone from Richmond.
Oh, where's that? Who's? Oh,
We're looking,
hey.
we're looking forward to getting there.
Yes.
Do you have any
It,
tips on stuff that we should definitely check out there? Let us know.
It was we were ashore for just a few. We walked up through Great Shiplock Park. We walked around Rockets Landing. We came back. We were about to get the bikes off and go for a bike ride, and that's when they're like,
Go
"Yeah,
away.
check the forecast. It has just changed in the matter of hours from to." And so yeah, we're eager and excited to explore Richmond. It's supposed to be very, very cool.
Yeah,
Um,
hoping we can catch some shows, get some biking in.
Yeah, so we are thinking of doing an overnight bike trip from Richmond to Williamsburg because we've never actually done overnight bike camping
We
before.
couldn't when we had the cat,
Yeah,
so that
so
opens up new
yeah,
possibilities.
so
Because we bought our new bicycles. They are electric by Specialized. They're lightweight, only 36 pounds. We bought them specifically so that we could do bike packing, so we can actually have panniers on them. So we do a lot of our provisioning off the bikes, and then we want to be able to, pack some
yeah,
overnight
yeah,
clothes and gear, and just do some credit card camping.
yes, get an Airbnb and maybe do a 1 or 2 night
Mhm.
long bike ride. I'm very excited for that. That was like one of the things like no, we were literally the bike trail is right
I can
outside
see
the
it. We
marina.
walked on
It's
it.
and actually if you go back to this the the flood gauge thing here, the lower graph is the level at the marina, the water level there, and also where we are. That's the tidal. So you see the tidal ups and downs on the far side before the flooding started. The where it peaked just 2 days ago, that was just a few inches below and where it would have actually flooded the Capitol Trail. And the forecast for a while after that big rain on Tuesday showed that the Capitol Trail was going to flood, which might have caused some significant damage. So I was really glad to see that the flood forecast dropped and it just came 6 inches below flooding the Capitol Trail before it started to drop off. And that would have been right at the marina. I'm sure that would have damaged the marina as well. So I think we dodged
Hopefully, hopefully.
hopefully
Well,
it's not we're
let's
not
get
docked
there.
yet. Let's get there.
Don't count your ducks before they're
Yes.
um, docked, moored. Yeah, there's got to be something there.
Yes. Okay, so any last final chance for questions, or we're going to wrap this up because this
Yeah.
is a nice, fun chance to keep us give us another activity to keep from going stir crazy.
Yes. So we're like, hey, what can we do to get some company? Because yeah, we've not had much human contact unless
Yeah,
you're
other than our Uber
Uber
driver
drivers.
today, then took a ride into a strip mall and
We
had
had Indian
and
food.
Indian food and some more groceries. So it was worth the Uber fee just to get out of the 16th century. So
For
that
a little bit, yes.
the
But it has been. I mean, we're making the best of it, and
and
really, with
we've
so
done
much,
such a good yeah.
Hurricane Helene had caused so much destruction elsewhere.
Mhm.
It's you're not gonna have a pity party.
Oh gosh, no, no,
So.
we are fortunate and our hearts are breaking for so many people
Mhm,
that people we know that are suffering so much with
mhm.
what's happened with Helene and everything else. And
Hey, wine time. Someone knows this.
oh, hey, yes, it is. So yeah,
Yeah,
it is
we'll be
probably
having
time.
some wine time after
Yes,
this. Yep.
that's why we took the Uber
Yes,
in.
so we stocked
Came
the
back
wine.
and then carrying our bags of groceries down a trail, loading them in a dinghy. I'm sure people was like, "What? Why are they going down a hiking trail with grocery bags?" Like, yeah, because that's the dinghy dock is not anywhere near the parking lot. It's way down a trail. But okay, you gotta be adaptable. And always check the satellite views and look for interesting ways to get ashore and find land.
Mhm.
And okay, and yeah, bye all, and we will see you guys all out
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And
So I just published a video last weekend. Yeah, I had downtime, so I caught up. So we have the episode from Newbern to Elizabeth City with the Albemarle Sound crossing. So that was kind of exciting. We do have an episode filmed for the Dismal Swamp in Norfolk, and then we'll have one on the James River.
yeah,
And that might be the end of this cruising season for
yeah,
videos.
yeah, or maybe yeah, we might do
Yeah.
one wrapping up here, but and then we got a
Oh,
yes, there
yes.
was another celebration. Somebody who's been following along on Facebook. So there are basically every just a few days behind updates posted on Facebook, and we celebrated our 100th bridge this year.
Clarification. You celebrated your 100th friend.
I
I just took the photos.
yeah,
I just keep
I,
the
I
logbook
like
and
bridges.
it's like, oh, this is going to be 100 today.
Yeah, she's like, It's 100, big on 100, you got to celebrate." So yeah, we crossed our 100th bridge, and we try to have fun with everything, and we'll be having we celebrate all the good stuff, and
Yes, we
that's
do.
why I can enjoy being holed up on a trapped on a boat with my sweet dorky love here, who celebrates bridges with me or laughing at me.
I log them so I can tell you when to celebrate.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. There's an outro video that played at the beginning, also that shows some highlights and some drone footage of this anchorage where we've been. So that'll play, and then this will be over.
And as always, if we're going to be crossing paths with you, reach out to us at contact@technomadia.com and invite us out. We love meeting up with you in our travels, and
Yes,
it's always a pleasure.
cool. Take care.